Welcome to the Private Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Storme, here to help you unlock the mind, business, and spirit of your private practice success. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to grow, this is the place for you if you really want to create a thriving private practice. Before we dive in, I want to share something that can really make a difference in your business. Imagine having an expert in your pocket, someone available on demand whenever you need guidance. Well, that's exactly what my new program, Practice Momentum, offers. With over 30 years of experience at your fingertips, you can now get the support you need whenever you need it. Curious? Head over to brooklynstorme.com to learn more. And now let's get into today's episode. Welcome to another episode of the Private Practice Podcast. Do you know what? It's 12:30 on Monday, the 21st of July, 2025. And I wasn't going to record the podcast today because I like to record them on the day. But I just wrote a post and I feel really strongly about it. And I just felt like now was the right time for me to make the recording. So let me talk you through it. I'm just going to bring it up. Okay. So here's the thing. I want to normalize talking about this without shame, without guilt, or without any of the things, okay? And what I'm talking about is feeling drained by having a fully booked diary of one-to-one sessions, okay? For the longest time, the narrative in our community has been that you need to have a fully booked diary when you run a private practice. And it's often something that we feel is aspirational, right? It's something that we're like, oh, one day I will have a fully booked diary. If I do all of the right things, I'm going to have a fully booked diary, And this was my narrative too. This was my story too. And I feel so strongly about this because maybe like you, I don't know, but I never even questioned it. I just thought that's what everybody's aiming for, right? Game's on. This is what we've got to do. We've got to go and figure out how to have a fully booked diary. And so that's what I did. And any time when I was starting my business, I would look at the diary and there was still space available. I would feel compelled to, try and fill that spot, right? What else can I do? Do I need to do another social media post? Do I need to send another email? Do I need to do another Facebook Live on my business page? Like all of these things. And so it kept me in, not a great place because I was always feeling like I had to catch up, like I was in a chasing energy, like, I wasn't good enough. How come everybody else could do it and I couldn't? So I was questioning all these kinds of things. And you know what? It is total BS. I have no idea where this idea of having the fully booked diary comes from. I don't. What I can say is this is, to me anyway, in my humble opinion, this is totally outdated thinking and it has no place in July 2025, right? And the reason that I think that is because maybe, who knows, maybe some time ago, some decades ago, it was the goal that therapists then had, right? And it's just kind of like been hanging around in our little system ever since. I don't know, maybe people thought that if they had a fully booked diary, that meant that they were going to make money or that meant that they were going to have financial stability. Maybe that's what they were thinking back then. But what I know now is you can enjoy that same financial security and stability without killing yourself doing one-to-one sessions back to back 4 or 5 days a week, right? The money is not correlated with the one-to-ones. Maybe in the past, people used to think that money was correlated with the one-to-ones, and maybe in the past that was the model of private practice that they felt was available to them. But now we've got so many different models that are available to us that that type of thinking about putting pressure on yourself to get all the clients kind of doesn't apply. And I'm just here to like take you by the shoulders, look you dead in the eye and say, if you've been, putting yourself under so much pressure to fill up that diary with clients, stop, right? I want you to really think about, where did this idea even come from for you? Is it about the compensation? Is it about the revenue? Because there are other ways we can get you that money, right? Now, there are also plenty of practices that do one-to-one work, and they're fine and they're rock and rolling, and that's all good, right? This episode and that post that I wrote is obviously not intended for those people, right? That's fine. They're off doing them, right? And that's awesome. But for us over here, who might be now starting to come to the realization that, oh my gosh, like, why am I doing this to myself? This is absolutely for you. I think that the idea of achieving, like even the word achieving or accomplishing the fully booked diary is fraught with danger for so many reasons. Like, I think it primes you for imposter syndrome. I think it primes you for feeling like you're a bit of a failure. And I don't mean that in like the real sense of the word, right? Because I don't see things as succeeding or failing. I think you succeed or you learn a lesson. So I see them as lessons, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? It can be taken to mean that if you don't have 20 or more clients in the diary every single week on week, that there must be something wrong with you, or how you run your business, or that you're just not good enough, or any number of things. I think this idea, this fantasy, this myth of the fully booked diary is absolutely a trap that keeps therapists, many of them women, in a place of constantly striving, pushing, in that energy of pushing, in the energy of chasing, and feeling like they're behind. It's total nonsense, right? I think too, this idea of you've got to have a fully booked diary in order to be successful, I think that can make so many therapists feel like they're not doing enough, even when they're already wearing 17 hats. I mean, I mentioned on a previous episode the studies done that showed that, when you run a business as an entrepreneur, you in the first, up to 5 years of your business, you wear between 15 and 17 different hats. You have to go and learn all these different roles, things you don't do when you work for somebody else, right? So when you're adding to that the pressure of, but I still don't have enough clients, meaning enough in terms of filling the diary, it makes you feel like, or it can make you feel like, you're not doing enough. Like you're missing some magical piece of the puzzle that everybody else got except for you. And that leads to them doing things like getting desperate, making decisions from desperation, making decisions from scarcity, making decisions from fear, making decisions from a place of, oh gosh, I really need the money, right? And that can look like things such as reducing your fees to try and get some more bookings in the diary. Or it can look like, you've got boundaries, like maybe you've got a very common boundary of, I start work at this time, I finish work at that time. But then you get a client inquire that wants to see you outside of that. And so because you're now coming from desperation, fear or scarcity, you're like, okay, no problem. I'd love to see you at 9:30 p.m. on a Friday night on telehealth, right? Even though it's the last thing you want to do, you're doing it because that decision is now being made from all these other places and spaces that are not where any businesswoman wants to be making decisions from for her private practice. Not good, right? It can also lead to things like you doing things like going overtime with your sessions because you want to see that diary get filled up more, or maybe you want to like try and stretch things out and stuff like that. And it's a recipe for resistance, for hesitation, for burnout, for procrastination, for low self-esteem, for imposter syndrome, all those kinds of things. When the diary is full, whatever that looks like for you, and you're seeing that full load of clients for you, the work can also become energetically draining, right? So it's just like you're tired. You feel it in your body, mind and soul, right? You feel tired. It can be cognitively draining, right? Really hard. So it's like you finish work and then on the way home, you've got to stop off at the supermarket and pick up ingredients for dinner. And you're just standing there with your hands on the trolley and you don't even know, should you go down the produce section? Should you go down the section with the pasta and the rice? Or like you're just standing there and you cannot even bring to mind what you're going to have for dinner. That's what I'm talking about, like the cognitive fatigue and things like that, right? It can be really, really draining. And not only that, it's not only the sessions when you're seeing so many people, but it's everything we don't even count, but that contributes. Things like reviewing the client's file before you see them, preparing yourself before you go into the session. So making sure that you've got in your mind some kind of plan for how you want that session to go today, what you're going to be discussing, working on, focusing on, achieving, all those kinds of things. It's the work that happens after the session, after the client leaves. That's maybe writing your notes. Maybe it's like, I don't know, returning phone calls, checking emails, billing, correspondence, all those kinds of things. And it's also a lot of the non-client facing work, right? Because it doesn't go in the diary as an appointment, it kind of doesn't get counted for some of us, right? I know I never used to count any of that. My focus was solely and wholly on how many people I'd seen. This is a trap I don't want for you, but I'm hearing today, people in Momentum were talking about it this morning. Sorry, that's my timer. I'll tell you about that in a minute. It is no word of a lie. This morning in Momentum, I was speaking with 3 women. To my knowledge, they hadn't previously been speaking with each other about this, but every single one of them told me the exact same thing. It reminded me so much of like, do you remember how, well, not do you remember, but I'm saying do you remember because I'm like on the other side of menopause. But you know how like women's menstrual cycles get in sync with each other? It reminded me of that. I was like, oh my gosh, their energy's in sync. 3 of them have all come to me with exactly what I'm talking to you about right now. And then I went on to a group supervision call that I run for the Diploma Counsellor Society. And would you believe, again, no word of a lie, it came up again. This is a very real problem that a therapist, whether you're a psychologist, counselor, social worker, play therapist, this is real and no one's talking about it. And I want you to know there's no pressure. There's no need for you to have a fully booked diary, right? Take that off the table. You might be thinking, well, if I'm not aiming for that, what am I aiming for? My answer would be aim for the thing that fills your cup. That's what you want to be receiving from the business, the things that fill your cup. I can share like from my own experience. The thing that fills my cup is not a fully booked diary of one-to-one sessions where I feel drained. And you can listen to so many episodes where I've spoken to you about that, right? and what my experience was like. So I'm not going to go over it. What's important to me, what fills my cup, is being useful. I really, really, really like being useful and helpful. I love being a resource. I love making resources. I love when people use my resources, my guidance, my suggestions, recommendations, tools, templates, whatever it is, and they come back to me and they let me know how they went with it. I love that so much. Every single time, hands down. That's what fills my cup. When I changed the way that I was viewing my business, and this all happened in November once I got the diagnosis, right? It all happened. Once I changed, and for me, the pivot was not in how do I make money or anything like that. For me, the pivot was in how do I work in a way that better matches my energy, right? And how do I work in a way that I find energizing? And that got me to think, well, what do I really love doing the most? And that looks like helping, answering questions, giving a strategy, providing a recommendation, like making a tool or a resource or a template or a video training or a podcast or something like that. They're the things that I could do all day long and still be good to go at the end of the day, as if I had just started the day. Not draining, energizing. So for me, when I pivoted my business to the thing that energized me, everything changed, right? My energy returned, my joy returned, my passion for it returned. You know, everything's working out great. So I'm just one example, but many of my clients have gone through this themselves. They've started the business, they got it to a point where it was fully booked. And while some people, that's their zone and they're great and they're good to go, that's all they need, amazing. But there is certainly a bunch of people out there that this fully booked diary myth does not work for. And then I hear that they feel guilty about not loving it because they're in the online communities and they're seeing other people scrambling for referral, right? So now they're thinking, oh, well, I shouldn't really complain because, I've got it better than everybody else, or I shouldn't really ask for help because, other people need more help than me. Like they don't even have the fully booked diary yet. I've got that. So I won't let myself get help because there are other people who need it more than me. And they do all of this. And I want you to listen, wake up, listen. You don't have to have a fully booked diary. You get to have a business that you really enjoy, that you are in love with, that lets you do the things that you want to do. Like you can use your gifts, your talents, your skills, your wisdom, do all of that. Use all of those, right? It's a beautiful space. Where else are you going to do it? This is what the practice is for, right? For you to do all of that. But you also get to do it in a way that feels good for you. Okay? And if seeing 20, 30 clients a week for 90 minutes at a time or whatever it is that you're doing is not the thing, don't do it. You don't have to. It's okay if you're in a space right now, like I was saying to one of the girls this morning, I was saying to her, it sounds like you're in the pause, right? She's like, I'm not sure what the next step is. I'm not sure where we're going to go from here in terms of her business. If you're in the pause, or maybe you're like in the place of awareness of, I didn't think, having the full book diary isn't what it cracked up to be. I want you to know, number one, you're not alone. Number two, you don't have to have a fully booked diary in order to be successful, because you and only you get to decide what success means, looks like, is, okay? And that's going to be different for everybody. Some people like to say that for them, success is having 20 clients or 30 clients, whatever it is. Other people say success is balance. It's about a better balance between doing, sorry, I just whacked my phone because I'm moving my hands around, between doing the work, but also having the life on the outside. Or it's a different balance of how they spend their time or how they structure their diary or things like that. So for them, balance is the indicator of success. For other people, it's confidence and competence. That's the big indicator of success. So when they start to learn business skills, for example, they start to notice that they go on like a bit of a hockey stick. It's like, you know, they are in a place where they're doing stuff in their business. There's a issue, they ask for help, and then the confidence goes down, right? Confidence drops because it's not that they're not as good as they thought they were, it's that they realize, oh my gosh, like I thought that I was here, but actually I'm down. That's not reality, by the way. The reality is it's a skill to learn, right? There's going to be lots of hockey sticks for everybody. We all go on the hockey stick. So then every time you have to learn something, it's the hockey stick, right? Your confidence drops a little bit because you're realizing all the stuff you didn't know. Like, oh my gosh, I had no idea about, cancellations. I had no idea about raising my fees. So that's why it didn't work out, right? And then someone like me says, yeah, I've got a way, let me show you. You say, yeah, awesome, I give you the way. And then boom, your confidence plummets initially because you're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea I was doing it so wrong, or it was this, or it was that. So yeah, it goes down. But then guess what? You use the tool, the technique, the strategy, the this, the that, or the other, it starts to work. And now we've got you on, your confidence is coming right back up again like a hockey stick. You know what I mean? Like think about the swoosh sign for Nike, right? It like starts at the little tip, it goes down, then poof, comes right back up. That's what I'm talking about when I say the hockey stick. So that's what happens there, right? So you get to decide what success looks like for you and understand. I don't know if this was something that I wrote or if this is something that I mentioned a little bit earlier in this podcast episode, but the thing that I was just about to say, which it's just, I'm so sorry. I got prescribed Dex to take with my Vyvanse ADHD medicine, and I had a tablet this morning, and I have to say, I've noticed that I've been so much less scattered, and I haven't lost my train of thought not once. I had it at 8 o'clock. It's now 1 o'clock, so 5 hours ago. So it's probably wearing off, and you're hearing that now because I lost my train of thought. I'll come back to it though, I always do. So yeah, you get to define what you want it to look like. You get to define the model of the work. Oh, that's what I was going to say. There's no correlation between how hard you work or how many clients you see and the money you can make in your private practice. If for you it's about the money, right? Which, let's be real, you're in business. It's about the money. When I say that, I'm talking about, of course, wanting to pay yourself, build up savings, reinvest into the business, into the practice, help your clients, do more courses, all those kinds of things. Yes, it's about the money. No, you don't have to be on the path of having a massive group practice and franchise it out and make millions of dollars. You don't have to do that. But we do have to acknowledge that money's part of it. And that's something that we do acknowledge here, right? I'm sick of the shame around this. So many women holding back on saying what they really want financially because they think that they're going to be judged or it's not cool or that it should be all about the clients. No, you have to make money, okay? So yeah, we do talk about making money here. It's very important. If I wasn't making money in my business, there's no way I could be, financially supporting my mother. No way. There's there's no way I could keep the house going. There's no way I could be doing all of the things. There's no way I could be like paying for these massive medical bills that only go up, that never come down, all those kinds of things. Making money is essential for your private practice, and it is more than okay. It is required for you to talk about it. Okay? If you don't have people in your space that you feel okay, talking about money, talk to me. Like, there's no judgment here. You need to be able to look after yourself, and especially so many of you with children and stuff like that. Yeah, it's not a time for you to be noble. And these two things don't have to be binary, by the way. It's not I'm a good person or I make money, or I help other people or I make money. No, you get to do both of those things. Okay. And it's important, it's very important that you do. So yeah, that whole idea of the fully booked diary, it's total baloney, it's nonsense, it's outdated, it's a big fat lie that's getting perpetuated in the industry. It does not apply to how you work in your private practice as a psychologist, counselor, social worker, play therapist, but whatever you're doing in your business in 2025 and beyond. No, it doesn't. Okay. So yeah, I just kind of like got all on my high horse about that for some reason. So I thought it was really important to share it today because, as you can hear, the energy was definitely there. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. Okay. In other news, I'm not going to talk about it now, but I will talk about it on another episode. Thank you for listening to the previous episode on what happened with the 100K 90-day experiment that I did. I've had a few questions come in. So what I'll do is I will pop them in a Google Doc somewhere. And when I record the next episode, I'll answer those questions. But people were asking me stuff like, but what were you actually doing that was bringing in the money? In response to me saying like, it's not how I don't do the one-to-one appointments anymore. And also people asking me like about my availability and how did I reduce that? And there are a few other things that I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, that was that. So I wanted to share that with you because it's on my heart and I think everybody needs to know it. And I will go and do a Instagram post about it just for the Instagram people because it needs to get out there. So I hope that this was really helpful. I hope that you can take something away from it. I'll also send it out as an email because there are people who listen to the podcast but don't get my emails and vice versa. And, there are people in my email that don't go on Facebook, and that's where I spend a lot of my time. So they would have missed it there as well. So if you're on my email list, that will come out. And yeah, if you have anything that you want to talk about in terms of how you're feeling about your practice or the model and what a different model for you could look like, or the finances, or, if you've got other myths that maybe you're now starting to think, everyone was saying I've got to have a fully booked diary, and now I'm starting to realize maybe I don't. And why is everybody saying that? Now I'm starting to think about all these other things. If that's happening for you too and you want to talk about it, email me, send me a message, send me a DM. Like I'm here for all of those conversations, really. And of course I'm here to help as well. So if you have questions, as I said to you so many times, my love language is helping you guys. So ask, and I'll absolutely, if I can point in the right direction, I will, right? Yeah, it's so important that we all stop deluding ourselves, trying to have the perfect business. It's not about having the perfect business. It's about the business that is going to work for you. Alrighty? All right, my lovelies. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Hi, my name is Chloe and I'm part of the Practice Momentum program. I've been working with Brooklyn for a couple of months now, and I can't believe it took me this long. Before I joined Momentum, I was trying to do everything. I was trying to refine my marketing. I was trying to update my website all the time. I was trying to network. I was trying to build my practice, and I had absolutely no idea what to focus on, what I needed to do first. I couldn't understand why nothing was working. It was so stressful because there was no money coming in at that point, and I had been following Brooklyn for a few years, and I always wanted to do coaching with her, and I always kind of put it off because I didn't feel like I was at that point in time. It was my imposter syndrome pretty badly. Fast forward, the time felt right. Brooklyn was so accommodating and helpful with finding a way for me to do the program, and it's been absolutely life-changing. Brooklyn has helped me to plan and make goals and break down bigger tasks. Like, don't just do a website, actually break it into parts so you have areas to focus on, which I've never done before. I'm so grateful. I reached all of my goals in the last quarter, and that led to a massive increase in my caseload, in my income, and my website is actually generating referrals now, which is incredible. I didn't think it would ever happen. So I'm so grateful. If you're thinking about it, don't wait as long as I did. Absolutely do it. I couldn't speak highly enough of Brooklyn, her generosity, her care, and compassion.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorme.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.